Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Arij if you're new, it's Arij if you're old, and I am making a video about meditation because I've actually gotten quite a few messages over the past couple of months of people asking me about my meditation practice and how I got started, if I had any tips to help them get started and things like that. So I thought I'd just make a video, and I'm filming outside for the entirety of this video. So I apologize for any bug sounds, any airplane sounds, any bird sounds. It's all good. So this video might get a bit long just because I have so much to talk about this topic, and so I have sectioned it off. The first section is going to be about my background in meditation, how I got started, things like that. Number 2 is the noticeable positive effects that meditation has had on my life. And then number 3 is how to meditate. So yeah, let's get started. So, the first time I meditated intentionally was probably a couple years ago or something, or around the time where I was building up my yoga practice, because I feel like when you start doing yoga regularly, the natural progression is to start meditating because it goes so well together. And I don't know, I was also consuming a lot of like spiritual content, and everyone kept mentioning meditation, like you should try meditation to help your stress. Like I just kept hearing about it everywhere, so I thought I'd give it a try. And the first type of meditation I ever tried was a guided meditation with the Headspace app, and I didn't like it at all. I didn't like that someone was talking to me in my ear, and it was like cringy. I just couldn't focus, and I kept getting distracted by the person's voice, and it just wasn't for me. So I kind of just gave up on meditation for a while after that, because I was like, I don't really like that. And then I don't know what or how, I don't exactly remember, but I do remember trying silent meditation a couple months after that, and I liked that one a lot better. I just related to it a lot more. I was able to really sink in. But even then, like even when I did the silent meditation and I liked it, I never got really consistent with it. I remember just doing it every now and again, like every couple of weeks I would just turn it on, do it, and then go about my day. But I didn't really get regular with meditation until this past December. I just finished my first semester of my last ever year of school, of university, and I was stressed because I was like, okay, first semester is over, Arij, you really gotta start thinking about what the heck is happening when you graduate. Like, are you getting a job? Like, so much to think about. And it's scary because I don't ever remember not being a student. I've always been a student. So the thought of trying to figure out what my life was going to look like after university ended, very scary and very uncertain. So because of this uncertainty about the future, I was in a very anxious state of mind, and this anxiety made me into a very aggravated person. I was just angry a lot of the time. Like I would react very negatively to things that didn't even require that much of a reaction. A lot of the times, poor Garrett, like because he was around me when I was in these moods, like I would take it out on him by like snapping at him or like yelling when I didn't even need to be yelling. And it quickly became a cycle of me being rude to him and snapping at him unnecessarily without even realizing what I was doing until after I had done it. Like it completely seemed out of my control, and it just kept happening where I would do it and then I would immediately regret it, immediately feel bad, say sorry, and just like hate myself for even doing it. But I couldn't stop it. No matter how much I was like, I'm really just gonna stop doing that, I just couldn't. I don't know. But one day it all blew up. It was so dumb. Like we had just come home from class and Garrett was turning the key on our apartment door and like he was gonna open it. But for some reason, I got really impatient and I didn't think that he was opening it quick enough, so I just like I like pushed him out of the way, grabbed the door and just like pushed it really aggressively. It was just really rude and just really mean, and obviously Garrett got upset because he didn't deserve that, and I immediately regretted it as soon as I did it, and I was like, oh my god, that was so bad. Like, I said sorry to him, but I knew that I didn't even deserve the forgiveness, so I just went straight into the bathroom and like cried for a couple hours because I felt so bad, and I just like so much self-hatred, and it was quite a low. And I remember when I calmed down, I remember saying to Garrett that I was gonna fix this. Like, I didn't know what was happening, I didn't know how I was gonna fix it, because it felt so out of my control, because I wasn't even aware what I was doing until after I had done it. So it was hard for me to prevent it in the moment. But I don't know what or who, or I don't know, but it just struck me that I should try meditation. And so that's when I downloaded Insight Timer, which is an app with a meditation timer, and I started a daily meditation practice, and it worked. Let me just say, like, after a week, those outbursts were gone. It was like they never happened. It was insane, out of no extra effort on my own part, literally just meditating every day. It completely made me a more calm person. I became a lot less reactionary to things. Like, if something didn't go the way I had planned, in the past it would really get me upset, but now it was like it didn't even affect me. Like, I didn't even think twice about it. I just moved on to how I could go around whatever happened, you know? And that was only one of the many positive effects that I noticed in my life after I started meditation. Another one is, and it's probably the reason why I can keep up this practice so regularly, is because I'm like less reactionary to things. It's easier for me to accept what is rather than wishing for what I hoped something would be. And because of that, my days go by so much smoother, and there's a lot less discomfort in my days, if that makes sense. So if like I meditate in the morning, I just feel like the day's easier to live through. I am less resistant to what is going on around me, and therefore I suffer less throughout the day because I'm not so worried about what's happening, and I'm more just like, okay, I accept this and I deal with it as it comes. I didn't actually have to make a conscious effort to do these things, it just became how I am. And like, I think this is because when I'm meditating, I feel like I'm giving my brain a distinguished space in time to kind of process whatever it needs to process. Like, you know those intrusive thoughts that keep coming to you over and over through your head, like stuff that you're worried about, it's like it'll keep hitting you like different times of the day. It's like, oh yeah, I remember this, like you're worried about that. And like those kind of recurring thoughts, when I sat down to meditate, they were able to run their course. I acknowledged them one by one, they did their thing, and then they were gone, and they didn't bother me the rest of the day. So that's why I say like it feels like my day went smoother, because it was less full of resistant thoughts. Another thing, my mental focus has improved significantly, because when you're meditating, you have like an object of focus. It's like what you're focusing on, what you're consciously trying to focus on, and then anytime you have a distracting thought, you return to your object of focus. And because you're practicing going from distraction back to focus, you can apply this skill to your regular daily life. So like when I'm sitting down to work, I can just be like, okay, for the next 30 minutes, I'm only gonna focus on this thing that I'm working on. And that's it. Like, I don't have to do anything else. Like, I just am able to not get distracted anymore. I just sit there for 30 minutes, I do it, and that's it. I don't feel the need to check my phone. Like, I don't feel like nothing else comes to me. I reach like a state of flow way easier. It's great. Anytime I have a negative thought enter my head, first of all, I can notice it a lot quicker, and I can notice it for what it is, which is just a negative thought. And secondly, I can divert it, and I stop it from leading me down a path of feeling sorry for myself, feeling bad about my abilities, like hating stuff about, like, I just don't even get to that place anymore because I can notice that I'm heading there, so I can stop it right away. And that's because of meditation. Okay, but the best part about meditation is this feeling of complete inner peace and contentment that you increasingly start to feel because of your meditation practice. It took me a couple weeks to achieve this, but after like a couple minutes into my meditation, I start to feel like I've connected with something, and with every breath from then on, I grow calmer. If you study spirituality or any of the traditions that incorporate meditation into their practice, such as Buddhism, Hinduism, etc., a lot of the time they mention meditation as connecting to your best self or your highest form of yourself, which they believe is already in you. Like, the best version of yourself is already in you. You just need to connect with it. And you can connect with it through meditation. And that's what I feel like that feeling is like when I connect to my highest self, my intuition, etc., I just feel so at peace and so fearless of the future, and all my anxieties are gone, and it's just great. And like, the more that I'm meditating, the more that this feeling is seeping into my regular life. I haven't studied this stuff enough to be able to talk about it in a knowledgeable way. Like, there's a lot of other YouTube channels where you can go for that. I might get into that stuff later, but it's kind of hard because with spirituality, you can go into a direction that's like completely off science, and then you become kind of like hard to listen to. Like, it's hard to find the balance between like scientific and mystical. It's like, I don't want to seem like one of those spiritual people that just disregard science completely and think that science is like some sort of fake construct. Oh, that's a good way to explain it. I don't want to seem like a conspiracy theorist, you know what I mean? But I do believe that there are a lot of things going on in this reality that we can't explain through science, and meditation has really kind of put me more in tune with that aspect of things. But yeah, anyway, I'm going off track, but that's the end of the second section. Third section starts here. How to meditate. What are my tips on meditation? This is probably the section that you came here for. And before I go into the actual like procedure of meditation, I just want you to let go of the assumptions and the image of meditation that you already have in your mind. Like, when you think of meditation, you probably just think of someone sitting with perfect posture with their legs crossed and eyes closed, just sitting there, not moving for a long period of time, meditating. And this is like kind of the thing that stopped me the most from being able to meditate regularly, because I thought that there was a very specific way to do it, and if I didn't do it that way, it wouldn't count or it wouldn't be beneficial. But like, as I've gained more and more experience with meditation, I've learned that that's not true. Like, the number one thing is that you don't want meditation to be a chore. You don't really want it to be just another thing that you added to your to-do list that you need to check off every day. Like, you want it to be a refuge. You want it to be a process that you can go to in any moment of distress, a positive thing that you want to return to over and over again. And the number one way to achieve this is to make sure that you're comfortable. Especially at the beginning when you don't have that much practice, focus on comfort. If you can't sit straight on the floor with your legs crossed for more than like 2 minutes, then sit against a wall. Like, make sure you have a backrest. Some days I'm feeling really, really tired and I can't even sit on the floor at all, so I'll just prop myself up in bed and I'll meditate there. Like, it doesn't have to be so difficult. Secondly, timing. A lot of people also assume that you have to meditate for like a specific amount of time, usually a longer period of time, for it to do you any good. And that's also not true. Like I said, it's going to be difficult for you to get used to meditation when you start. So it's better to just start easy. Like when I started with just 5 minutes because that was all I could do. If I tried to sit for longer than that, I would get too distracted. It would just be super unproductive. So I started with 5 minutes. And I did that for a couple weeks until one day I just naturally felt the urge to bump it up to 10 minutes. And then I did 10 minutes for another couple weeks. And then one day I was like, oh, let me try 30 minutes. And I did 30 minutes and I got through it, but I didn't think that it was, I still felt like it was a bit too long for myself at the time. So I bumped it down to 20 minutes and that's where I am today. I meditate every day for 20 minutes, but I didn't start like that, you know? So just start slow because you want to build up the practice. You can't just go from 0 to 100. So generally there are 2 different ways that you can meditate. There is a guided meditation, which is when you play a recording of someone talking you through the meditation, so talking you through visualizations, breathing techniques, etc. And for a lot of beginners, this is the easier path because it's guided. And a lot of the meditation apps and things out there right now do focus on this type of meditation. For example, Headspace, or even this app that I have called Insight Timer. They have free guided meditation. You can find some on YouTube, etc. So if you're looking for an easier path into meditation, I suggest you look into that. But for me personally, I tried it out and I didn't like it, I didn't relate to it. So I prefer the second way of meditation, which is just a silent meditation. You pick a meditation technique, and there are so many of these out there. Like you can literally go into Google, type meditation techniques, and you'll find a bunch. The one that I do is called mindful breathing. So my object of focus is my breath. When I meditate, I am continuously focusing on my breathing. So in my head, it sounds like inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And anytime I have an intrusive thought, as soon as I notice it, I return back to the breathing. And I just keep doing this for however long I've set to meditate for. Another meditation technique is called body scanning. So this is where you sit for a set number of minutes and you kind of just focus on each different part of your body, trying to notice places of tension. And then once you notice that tension, you try to release it through breathing or whatever. But yeah, like I said, there's so many different silent meditation techniques that you can do. I do the mindful breathing one because it's super straightforward. And yeah, but one thing to remember is that when you are meditating, you don't necessarily want to remove your thoughts completely, okay? The purpose of meditation is to not think, you know? The purpose of meditation is to be aware of the thoughts and therefore be able to control them better. So I read this blog post which really helped me visualize this, and basically it tells you to visualize your meditation as a sequence of moments, each moment being a second. So each second is a circle. And for example, if you meditate for a minute, you have 60 circles all in sequence, okay? So now when you start meditation, each of these circles can be colored 3 different ways. They can be green if you spend that second on your object of focus. So for me, it would be breathing. And then they can be colored red if you spend that second focusing on something, on an intrusive thought. And then they can be gray if you're not thinking about anything in that second. You're not thinking about the object of focus, you're not thinking about the intrusive thought, your mind is just blank. So the goal of your meditation session is to get as many green circles as you can. Not gray, not red, green. And to get green, you need to be on the object of focus. There are going to be days where most of your circles are going to be red, but that's okay. And that doesn't mean that your meditation didn't work, okay? The fact that you sat there and did and tried to do it for however long you tried to, that means something. And the important thing is just to come back to it the next day and try again. Like, it doesn't matter. Don't beat yourself up over not being able to stay on your object of focus, because it's hard, okay? And that's the whole reason why we're meditating, is because our thoughts are all over the place all the time. And this exercise is to wrangle it in, you know? And it's obviously going to be hard at first, but you're going to get better at it, and you're going to feel better as you go. So yeah, that's it. That's my video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it benefited you. I hope it answered your questions. If not, leave them below or DM me on Instagram, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and goodbye. I will see you next week. Love you.